Hey everyone, welcome back. This is going to be a bit of an improv video where we kind of just show what we're working on in the workshop. Today Daniel is assembling the 2800 speaker.
Hey, how you guys doing?
So this video is just going to go through some of the details and changes that we've kind of recently made with this design. And so for those of you that don't know, this is a 10-inch three-way, and so it has the mid-range driver covering most of the vocal range from 500 hertz up to 10 kilohertz, and it has the 10-inch CS woofers from Norway, and then the super tweeter on top. So
yeah, I'm really excited about these, Troy, because for you, some of you that haven't seen Troy's earlier video, we talk about a little bit about how this came about. And this is
the camera.
Yeah, sure.
Just flip the camera around so you can see.
Yeah, so we did an earlier video of how this speaker came about and how Troy kind of thought it up and the design elements and things like that. And I'm really excited about it because one of the speakers that Troy designs is the 1680s, and if you haven't seen that one, you got to go check out that video. But the 1680s is my favorite sounding and looking speaker that Troy makes, and he came up with this design, and this one's kind of the 1680 on steroids. So it's the 2800, it's the big brother to that. So I'm really excited about this and how it's going to sound and how he's designed it. There's some key elements here.
Cool, thanks Daniel. All right, so first things first, it has the ES450 biradial kind of prominently displayed there. Like I mentioned with the super tweeter on top, we've actually machined right into the hardwood the support, locating supports for the super tweeter. Also, a nice little convenience feature is these lifting handles on the side. Just helps with positioning of the speakers in your listening room. So you just kind of hold it, and it makes it much easier to kind of manage.
Yeah,
so,
that's totally amazing because it's you could see the robustness of this cabinet. So having the handles there is critical for moving it around,
yeah,
which is awesome.
There was a lot of discussion surrounding the shape of the pocket and how deep it needed to go, and it actually goes fully horizontal in where you lift, but then here it's on a 45 degree, and then it's fully radiused. And so just an example of the thought that's gone into every element of this speaker. So the cabinet itself, one of the changes that we made just kind of right before we went into production was to go full hardwood with the entire enclosure. So it's 35 millimeter thick, solid walnut for the sides, top, bottom, and then the rear of the speaker, which is removable, and we'll touch on that in a second. So there's just internally here, we have the back open. Daniel's just kind of at the point where he's going to tidy up the wiring and then put the polyfill in. We do 1-inch internal lining, 2-inch on the back. The DCM 50, we've done a number of changes, actually kind of mid build on this, where we've done a lot of critical listening, made a number of changes to the compression driver itself. Actually, if you want to look over here, this is the other speaker where it hasn't been fully assembled yet. So this is a larger rear chamber for the DCM 50. And so that kind of relaxed the sound near the crossover point. Like I said, it's 500 hertz. And so it lowers the FS of the driver. Now we added dampening material inside the rear chamber as well, some special dampening material. And so I'll go through the changes. So larger rear chamber, dampening material. We removed the bug. So the bug screen or wire mesh is simply a protective mesh that we've removed. And so what that does by removing the mesh is it reduces the amount of first order reflections where the sound, especially in the high frequencies, can potentially bounce back into the compression driver. And so it just improves overall clarity in that upper treble. So the DCM 50 is going right up to 10 kilohertz, and so that is something that we needed to consider. So you can see here the CS woofers, they're doped, and I had a suspicion that that was one of the reasons why I really liked the tonal character of these woofers, is that they have a kind of a full, rich sound, very musical. And so in keeping with that, one of the changes that we made was we actually doped the paper compression driver diaphragm. And so I experimented with a number of different doping materials or chemicals and different amounts. And so it settled on actually quite a substantial amount of doping to the paper.
Can you just explain that to me? Sorry, doping. Can you just go
Yeah,
into
we
like what
actually-
doping is for people that don't know what that is?
Doping is applying a finish to the paper, and it's a special chemical that damps resonances. So it's a way of treating the diaphragm. And so what I found was it actually smoothed out the frequency response a little bit, and it didn't actually reduce the sensitivity of the compression driver at all. I was wanting to make sure I didn't, because of the added mass of the chemical itself, it didn't actually reduce the sensitivity. So yeah, it just kind of matches the tonality between the woofer and the mid-range, and there was definitely a slight improvement in overall sound quality with the doping of the diaphragm. So the crossover itself is, we've made a unique change to the crossover in that it's now called a sign cap crossover. So the crossover, this is, we've replaced the capacitors in the signal chain with 20-watt resistors. And so now you can be rest assured that the speaker has no capacitors in this signal path for the vocal range. And so if you have tube amps that are very well thought out where they've eliminated any capacitors in the signal chain on the tube amp, then so now you have no capacitors from preamp to amp and then to the speakers. So the reason for that is simply the subjective sound quality. When I switched to the sign cap crossover, I found an improvement in sound quality there as well. So
Yeah, the prototype sounded amazing. So whatever you did sounds amazing.
yeah, there's kind of a naturalness that I found when you eliminate those capacitors, and it just was a noticeable improvement. It sounded a little more natural to my ears. So these are the rear covers, and again, the same 35 millimeter thick solid hardwood. These are walnut, just in case you were wondering. So we machined the ports right into the back, and then the decal is actually flush mounted, and then it's going to get my signature there on the decal. We have the WBT binding posts, which is a low mass design, excellent design with really good grip strength there.
Yeah, the details that went into that port and how you designed that, it's amazing.
So the flare continues internally as well, just to reduce turbulence. So, all right, so there you have it, guys.
Yeah, and just look out for this speaker. It's amazing. I know Troy's, humble guy, but the design elements that go into this and his detail and the amount of time he spends perfecting this subjectively and objective testing on this is incredible, all the way from the finish to the elements of the angles of this thing. It sounds amazing. So look forward to
Thanks, Daniel.
to tell you about how it sounds.
All right, take care, guys.
Have a great day. Bye-bye.